Tony Robbins rightly said, the path to success is to take massive, determined action.
What a thought-provoking quote to commence today's session.
Thank you, Trisha. This quote on achieving success is setting out some truth bombs. If you want success, it is going to take massive action. Not only that, but the work has to be determined. In other words, it has to be the right thing. Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Avenue 2021, a global virtual career guidance program launched by the Indian school Al-Wadi Al-Kabir under the aegis of the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. On behalf of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, I, Lyle of Class 11 and Tisha of Class 9 from ISWK take the proud privilege of expressing our profound gratitude to His Majesty Haytham bin Tariq Al Said for the altruistic and noble benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. We, the Indian expatriates, are fortunate indeed to enjoy a world-class quality of life in a country that is modern, peaceful, and full of natural beauty. May the Almighty shower His choicest blessings on His Majesty and may this nation experience peace and everlasting prosperity.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome the Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman, Dr. Shivakumar Manakam. We wholeheartedly welcome dignitaries from the Ministry of Education, officials from the Indian Embassy, and distinguished officials from CBSE. A cordial and courteous welcome to all the members of the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. A hearty welcome to the President of ISWK Management Committee, Mr. Alkesh Joshi, and other members of the School Management Committee of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir. An affectionate welcome to principals, vice principals, assistant vice principals, HODs, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching fraternity across the globe. I'm extremely delighted to welcome students, parents, grandparents, invitees, and all our well-wishers from all over the world. We enthusiastically welcome distinguished members of the business community and members of the education cell. Thank you one and all for your benign presence here this evening.
If you have the emotion, it infects you and the audience. If you don't have it, don't bother. Just say your lines as truthfully as you're capable of doing. You can't fake emotion, as said by Sanford Meisner. Aligned to the objective of catering to the diverse needs of our student community, the theme for Avenue 2021 is designed weaving in the 9 multiple intelligences among humans, which can be compared to the 9 gems that adorn a priceless necklace. It is with sheer joy and great pride that I take the task of introducing our guest speaker today. She is a woman of virtue and simplicity, a living inspiration to the youth. I feel elated for you, the august audience, for sparing your time out of your busy schedules to invest in your dreams.
Today, 20th of October, Day 1, explores the bodily kinesthetic intelligence, which portrays the ability to control one's body movements. The career fields it will highlight are athletics, dancing, acting, and the gem exemplifying these potentials is the green emerald. With great honor and pride, I now introduce you to the woman of stature and caliber, a woman of dedicated actions whose services and contributions have affected change in the television industry and mindsets of people. She is none other than Ms.Tuhinaa Vohra, actor in the Indian television. The gemstone aligned to her personality is green emerald.
Ms.Tuhinaa Vohra has a background of English theatre and thereafter went on to act in several Indian television shows and has been doing so for the last 20 years. Some of her famous television shows include Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, Just Mohabbat, Ek Muट्ठी Asmaan, Nisha और उसके cousins, अगले जन्म मोहे बिटिया ही कीजो. She is also featured in popular web series like Criminal Justice on Hotstar and Crash on Z5 and Alt Balaji. She has appeared in advertisements for several brands, including Sugar Free with Katrina Kaif, Byju's with Shah Rukh Khan, Pepper Fry with Rajat Kapoor, Britannia 50/50, and Glucon D. She is an actor by profession, but dabbles in poetry and has a blog of her own named Mama, What's a Poem? The major part of her schooling was from Air Force Bal Bharati School, New Delhi. She has done her master's in Russian language and literature from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Ms.Tuhinaa studied Hindustani classical music while at school and university. She participated and won in the Shankar's All India Elocution competition at school, for which she was felicitated by the then President of India, R. Venkataraman. Her grandfather, Anil Biswas, was a famous music composer in Hindi cinema. But before we listen to her, let's watch a prelude.
टडा!
हलवा किस खुशी में?
भैया कल से जॉगिंग जाने वाली हैं।
इनसे ना हो पाएगा।
क्यों ने? नए जूते भी खरीद लिए।
हर साल खरीदते हैं, लेकिन आज तक फिटनेस की तरफ एक कदम भी नहीं लिया।
ले तो लिया हलवा खा के।
क्योंकि सांस भी कभी
So, Urvashi, you're Urvashi. Tuhinaa, you're the bi. You are a hot-headed bi. You have a temper issue. Urvashi, you're very polite. But you want to complain to her that she has not showed up in last 5 days and you were very, very bothered because of that. You're complaining. Action.
कहाँ थी तुम आज?
कहाँ रहेगी?
अरे लेकिन कहाँ रहेगी का ये जवाब थोड़ी ना होता है। कितना काम पड़ा था घर पे।
हाँ क्या हो गया है मैडम? कभी हम लोग को भी छुट्टी लेने का कि नहीं लेने का? अरे बाप रे, ऐसे बात करें तो हमको काम नहीं करने का है फिर।
As Ms. Tuhinaa had some important outdoor shoots, she could not join us live for this session, but has sent a recorded message for the audience. Without further ado, let's listen to Ms. Tuhinaa Vohra.
Hello, young girls and boys on the precipice of youth and great things. You know, one of the wonderful things that acting teaches you is how to understand people who come from, you know, different walks of life. As you play different characters, you learn to empathize with them and understand them. And as you understand, you know, or empathize with different kinds of people, you learn not to distinguish between people who, you know, come from different backgrounds or different spaces, and therefore it makes you, acting makes you a better person. So I pray I hope, first of all, that each one of you at some point does an acting workshop, and I pray that each and every one of you grows up to be a good person and a good citizen, someone who thinks about other people, thinks about the planet, and inshallah, all of you will be good and kind. Anyway, so your school had asked me to send a title for my speech, and I'm not sure if you've seen mine, but mine is called An Actor Prepares. An Actor Prepares is the name of a book which is considered a Bible for actors. It's written by someone called Stanislavski. I'll tell you about the writer in just a bit, but first I want to say that An Actor Prepares is about my journey of becoming more me via my preparation of being an actor. Okay, so now I'm personally of the opinion that no experience in life ever goes to waste. See, I did my post-graduation in a subject which I ostensibly have no use for in my field. I'm an actor, right? And I studied Russian language and literature. But you see, it is Russian which introduced me to Stanislavski, who is considered the guru of acting. He founded the Method School of Acting, which is followed by many wonderful actors all over the world. You know, here in India, for example, Nasiruddin Shah, Manoj Bajpayee, Nawazuddin Sheikh, many great actors. And another thing that happened was that if I had not perchance participated in an inter-university skit competition while I was studying Russian, and if I had not come first in it, I would never have discovered I have some kind of a talent for acting, which was so unrelated to what I was studying, right? If I had not had a best friend who happened to be sharing my room at university, and if together we had not spotted a little poster for auditions for a new theatre group, she would never have sort of coaxed me into going and trying out for it, right? I remember exactly what she said. She said, you were so good in that skit. It's your birthday today. Do this for yourself. And I said, okay, you know, and I went and I tried out, and I, got through, and I became a part of that theatre group. But I never thought much about, like, I never thought much of it at that time, you know. I just looked at it as another experience. You know, when you're young, like, you want to try out many new things, you want to experience many new things. And I think what I'm trying to say here is that everything adds up to something. And nothing is just a coincidence, you know. In fact, that is the reason why I am able to look at setbacks and partings with people in your life in a different way. Because everything is happening for a crazy reason which you cannot fathom right now. And that's okay. Don't even try to. You know, one fine day you will look back and you will think, so this is what that moment did for me. You know? This friend of mine I was talking about, you know, we didn't speak to each other for many years at one point. And when I look back, I realized, you know, she was the one who sort of casually nudged me into the direction of this profession, which has now become home for me. And after that, she left my life. So, I don't know. I guess maybe, you know, she did what she was meant to at that point in life, and then possibly moved on to the next bit of karma that she had to do. Who knows? You know, that is why I no longer feel angry. Like I said, with partings, with people, with setbacks. I have learned to look at them in a different light. So, instead of looking back at this relationship with her, with anger, I could look at it in a more, beautiful way. And in fact, be thankful for it. Be thankful that it happened. And similarly, you will see that setbacks, when they happen, feel terrible, but in the long run you realize, oh my goodness, so this didn't happen because instead of that, this was meant to happen, because if that had happened, this would not have happened. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying there's some crazy stuff that's happening out there, and you will understand one fine day. You will understand. Okay, now we talk practicality. For those of you who might be interested in pursuing this as a profession, I personally would recommend studying acting. There are places in India like NSD in New Delhi, that's the National School of Drama, or FTII in Pune, that's the Film and Television Institute of India, which will give you an actual degree in acting. Or else there are, many famous acting gurus like Barry John and Neeraj Kabi. With them you can do long-term acting workshops. But whichever way you do it, study it. Or else do theatre, which is quite an education in itself. Simply because, acting is also a craft. And you can't always just use your heart for emoting, for the camera. Sometimes you also have to use your head. Of course I understand, acting is emoting and that has to come from within you. But sometimes, let's say you're in a happy mood and you have to do a sad scene. So how to, bring yourself into the correct headspace, how to reach within you to, bring back memories of a certain emotion. All these little things the craft will help you with. Also, when you watch actors who have studied acting, you will see layers in their acting. It's, of course, there are some actors who just have like a God-given gift. But I'm saying, why just leave it to God, And God helps those who help themselves. So, we'll talk about what I mean by layered performances. So, in every scene that such an actor does, you will notice there's many things going on. There's not just, the dialogue or the movement that have been given to them. There are other sort of added layers that have been brought to the character by them, by the actor. At the risk of sounding pompous, I'll talk about a scene of mine, just something simple. I once did a show called Agle Janam Mohe Bitya Hi Kijo, and in that I played a poor villager who came from an untouchable caste. And anyway, so there is this scene where our children want to dance and they ask their father to play the dholak. At some point they're enjoying themselves a lot and they ask me also to join in, and I refuse. No. And then my husband asks me, okay, join them, and then I was supposed to say yes. So the thing is that when he said to me, go dance, I didn't just get up, even though I was meant to. I sort of looked a bit shy, and I covered half my face with my pallu, and I was sort of saying no and that kind of thing. And then we were looking only at each other, not at the children. And then for a second time he sort of nudged me with his eyes, get up and dance. And then I reacted in a way that, okay, fine, I will dance just for you because you are saying it. And then I got up and I joined the children. So the director, when after the scene, he told me, he said, those little extra looks that you gave, which were not part of the scene, he said it was, I could see your entire relationship between you and your husband, what it is now, and what it must have been like when they were young. Like, I could just see everything. you know. So what happens is that actors can sometimes create these little moments, you know, which are not there in the written script. It is not there in the dialogue, it is not there in the movement. Acting is not necessarily about just those two things. It can sometimes be just a look. And you know, when an actor adds something like this, you know, from his own side, it like this little sort of added layer, you know, where you're watching something, and by watching it you sense or feel something, you know, that had gone past, or something that is impending. I mean, you know, something that might happen in the future. You sort of view it in the present. It's, like I said, it's an added layer, and it's beautiful to watch, you know, and it touches you. So imagine, it's like adding an extra dimension. You know, here's one of the reasons I started acting. I was an extremely underconfident person. I have been actually for most of my life, and I felt it, you know, it would help me to build my confidence. And here's something I have learned only now, many years later. We waste half of our lives not doing things simply because we are nervous or underconfident or feel that we are not good enough. But trust me, if only we had done them, we would have thanked ourselves now, later, whatever. My grandfather taught me, you know, the first time I was singing in front of people, it was a competition. He said, बेटा तुम बस सोच लेना, तुम्हारे सामने जितने लोग बैठे हैं ना, सब गधे हैं. Imagine everyone sitting in the audience is a donkey. So like today, you know, now I have to speak in front of so many of you. I have to tell myself, you know what? They're just little children, they don't know anything. You know, I'm saying, find your ways and means to do it. Some friends I had, you know, from theatre long ago, they once made me, you know, sing in front of somebody, and apparently I embarrassed myself. I was so nervous that I, you know, just couldn't sing properly. And just before that, they had introduced me as the granddaughter of the legend Anil Biswas. You know, he was a famous film composer in his time, and he even taught Lata Mangeshkar breath control. So after all this fancy introduction, I went and sang very badly. And apparently they were also a little bit embarrassed by it. But you know, like now when I think back, I think, well, thank God, you know, I did sing in front of them. Thank God I didn't say no, like, you know, I always used to do, no, I can't. Because, you know, each time that I did sing in front of someone, my confidence grew a little bit. Practice makes perfect, right? So, you know, today I think I sing better and with more feeling, because I'm not wasting my time being shy, you know. And so now at this very adult age, I have told myself, I have to get over all my fears. I have to do all the things I fear, and I have to not say no to new things. Like, you know, sometime back a very well-known and successful filmmaker asked me if I could write a screenplay for him. Now, I have no experience or, you know, background in writing at all. But my answer was simple. Yes, I said. I just thought, you know what, I'll learn along the way. And I quickly borrowed a book on screenplay writing from my friend, and, you know, I wrote a few scenes, and voila, they loved it. So just imagine if I had been underconfident and, you know, sort of just wasted my time, you know, feeling all these things and saying, no, I can't do it, I would have lost out on such a wonderful opportunity. And remember one thing, you know, you are uniquely you. Nobody else has lived your life or had your experiences, right? So never tell yourself that you're not good enough, because not as good enough as who? I mean, there's no comparison here, because like I said, you are uniquely you, and so only you can tell the story that you can tell. Somebody else will also write a beautiful story, but it will not be the same story that you can write, or paint, or whatever other art that you are creating. Any one of you out there feels underconfident, I implore you, don't beat your head up about it. Just go and do the thing. You know, I mean, you may be embarrassed right now, but in a few years you will have forgotten about it, and so will they. But you will have got better at it, right? And when you will be able to do those things and do them well, whether it be acting or dancing or singing or anything else, it will bring you joy. And that, my friends, is the most important thing. Why deprive yourself of that joy? So since this is not live, we unfortunately can't have a Q&A, but I'll give you a couple of pointers. First thing is, I said that you should study, I wish you would study it or do theatre. However, that is not a requirement from the producer's side. All they ask for is a good performance in the audition. But of course, doing these things will help build your confidence and craft, so that you can do a great audition. Secondly, I would like to say that please don't think it to be a world of glamour only. It's we work very hard. Like in television, our basic shift is 12 hours, and it can get extended, and then there's travel time of 2 to 3 hours, and sometimes we have to work all day in the hot sun, in the height of summer, and sometimes 3 days at a stretch in pouring rain, at the end of which you will definitely end up getting fever. Sometimes we do action sequences which look like a lot of fun, but they can cause injuries. I myself, in fact, have had a ligament tear in my foot, from an action sequence I was doing once, and I was limping for 7 months after that. So what I'm trying to say is that, get into this only if you really have a passion for acting, because that is the only thing which will keep you going through all phases. This is like a freelancing kind of job, right? So sometimes you can be working 12 hours, 15 hours a day for 25, 30 days a month all year, and then sometimes for an entire year or more you may not be working also. So you have to learn to save up in this profession. What else? At one time, a good expensive portfolio was an essential requirement, but no more. Simple selfies are fine. You can send your details to casting agencies. Numbers are all available on the net, and it's quite a professional system, where basically if you fit the age requirement, the physical look requirement, you get called for an audition, and after that it's your talent and your destiny which will take you forward. So, good luck. But don't base it on luck only, please. Work hard. Yeah. See you around.
That was indeed an extraordinary and inspiring session by Ms.Tuhinaa Vohra. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your enlightening words. Dear audience, you're requested to fill in the feedback form, which will be posted in the chat box towards the end of the session. Filling this form is necessary as it would fetch your participation certificate. For those who have joined through YouTube, are requested to check the description box for the link of the feedback form. The feedback form is also available on the AVDU website.
As we draw to an end of this enriching session, I deem it my great privilege to express my profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said for the magnanimous benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower abundant blessings on His Majesty and His country. We extend heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Ms.Tuhinaa Vohra, for her words of motivation. Thank you once again, ma'am. Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Shivakumar Manikam, Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman, and other esteemed members on the Board of Directors. Our heartfelt thanks to the President, Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir Management Committee, Mr. Alkesh Joshi, and other members of the Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir Management Committee for their propitious support and encouragement at all times. Our heartfelt gratitude to our prudent captain of the ship, Mr. D.N. Rao, Principal ISWK. I'd like to thank honorable principals of the Indian schools in Oman, principals, vice principals, assistant vice principals, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching fraternity from the schools of MENA region and all across the globe for their support and guidance. Heartfelt thanks to our Chief Platinum sponsor, StudyCo, Gold sponsors, Jain University, Vellore Institute of Technology, Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education, and Grey Matters. Bronze sponsors, Middle East College, Thapar University, MIT World Peace University, Pune, and Dallas Baptist University. Digital partner, Spectrum, media partner, The Arabian Stories, and valued donors.
I wish to thank each and every aspiring student and parent for their valuable presence in making this session. An event of this kind requires the coordination of a committed team. Thank you to the ISWK team for making this session of Avenue 2021 possible. Dear audience, a gentle reminder to fill your feedback form, please. Stay tuned for the next session. The audience can view the next details on the Avenue website, avenueoman.com. It's time to ride the rainbow to dreamland. So here's wishing good night to one and all. See you in the next session. Till then, stay safe.